it's Mars, and welcome to drawing class. Today's drawing class is dedicated to Justin, and Justin really likes drawing hurricanes. So we're going to draw a few different weather scenes today using a pencil, eraser, and pencil sharpener in kinda new and weird ways. There are some fancy drawing tools out there that would come in handy for blending and things like that, but you can just use a tissue and some Q-tips for blending, and those will work just fine. Before we start, take a look at this practice page. I always try to do a practice page before I start my final drawing. You gotta get used to the materials and the paper and just have a pressure-free piece of paper to warm up on. So when I show you something, just remember that I've practiced it before. It didn't come out that way the first time I tried it. Okay, we're almost ready to start, but first I just have to let you know, you might want to put some newspaper down because this can get a little bit more messy than regular drawing. So the first thing you're going to do is grab your pencil sharpener and start sharpening your pencil. And if it's an open kind like this, just let the pencil shavings fall right on your paper. And if you have one that fills up, just keep sharpening and sharpening, and then eventually you're going to dump it all out on your paper. Now you're going to grab your tissue and start to blend it into the paper. This is going to take a little bit of time, so just enjoy the process. I think it's actually a really nice way to relax. If you want it to look super smooth, try to make little circles with your tissue. I've been doing this since like 5th grade when me and my best friend at the time, his name was Julio, and we loved drawing. And I think it was him, one day he just dumped out his pencil sharpener with all of the colored pencil shavings and started blending it in with his finger, and that was like a game changer. Next level drawing skills for us. If you decide you like this technique, they make something called graphite powder, and I'll show you that. It really speeds up the process quite a bit. I'm just working on regular printer paper here, and you can see that with the graphite powder you can get a lot darker a lot faster. So if you decide you like this technique, go ahead and grab yourself some. I can put a link if anyone's interested. Once you're happy with the tone on your paper, you can push all of that graphite away and into a corner. You might want to borrow some of it later, so I wouldn't get rid of it just yet. Now it's your eraser's time to shine. And for this drawing, we're doing a cloudy sky. So I started at the top of my paper, making little circles with my eraser, and then using the wide side of the eraser to pull down at the bottom of the cloud. Now you can experiment with whatever motions you want. Just make sure that you're varying it and experimenting and trying different ways of erasing into the paper to make your clouds. It's also helpful to do a little Google image search and just have those up for you to glance at now and then, because it will help break up any repetition that's happening because you're just repeating your own idea of a cloud. This will help you get some other shapes in there. I worked on my clouds for actually about a half an hour. As you can see, I switched back and forth between my big eraser and the eraser on the back of my pencil. And when I had areas I wanted to be a little darker, I very lightly used my pencil to move back and forth and slowly build up a little bit of darkness in some areas. So keep on doing it, moving down the page, and you can also use your Q-tip to blend things back together in places that you want to look a little more smooth. Now you can go ahead and add an object into your sky. Maybe it's a kite or a hot air balloon, maybe it's a bird, or maybe something totally random. For drawing these birds, I would recommend practicing on a different piece of paper first, because I didn't really like how my first bird came out, but I liked how the rest of them came out, so I really wish I practiced that on a different piece of paper first. To draw these birds, I just googled birds in sky and I copied some of the birds that I found in those pictures. If you decide to do birds in your sky and you want them to look like mine, just make sure that as you get lower on the page, the birds get bigger, and higher on the page, the birds are smaller. So for me, that meant using a black marker for the birds that were closer to me and lower on the page, and using a black pen for the smaller birds that were farther away and higher on the page. Next, I'm going to show you how to do the rainy sky. If you want to follow along, just pause whenever you need to catch up and have fun with this rainy sky drawing.